Okay. So hello and good afternoon. Good afternoon here in Europe. Good morning in the Americas. I see some people connecting from the Americas. Fantastic. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to this first edition of the Luxembourg Freedom Initiative Roundtable Conversations on Modern Slavery. Today is Monday, the 18th of October, 2021, and we are celebrating the European Anti-Trafficking Day. My name is Rick Serrano, and I am one of the 6 founding members of the Luxembourg Freedom Initiative. We are a forum of global entrepreneurs and professionals from Luxembourg who have come together to address the global issue of modern slavery. I will have the honor to be moderating today's roundtable conversation. We thank you very much really for taking the time to join us today. We are conscious that you are all very busy people. I will try to drive the session quickly and hopefully dynamically to try to get you out of here in 40 minutes. Please be aware that we are recording the session. Of course, feel free to write your questions or comments in the chat section and we will try to address them in the end. Please mute yourself if you are not muted yet so that we can all listen better. So let's get started. Now, some of you might be wondering, what is this concept of modern slavery? Well, let me tell you, modern slavery is fundamentally defined as forcing a person to engage in any activity that exploits him or her, often referred to as human trafficking. It generates massive amounts of money, usually funded by first world consumers, and this makes it incredibly difficult to abolish. Now, let me comment also on some important and frequent misconceptions about modern slavery. People frequently tend to think modern slavery only happens in poor countries or maybe in sketchy areas in the West. For the most part, modern slavery is not a first world problem. This is the first misconception. People with questionable character are the only ones who get trapped. That's another one. Or I have never contributed to the exploitation of another person. Or corporations will continue to exploit workers worldwide as long as they can get away with it. Or it will never happen to me or to any of my friends. So these are the most frequent misconceptions. Let me share with you that I first came in contact with the phenomenon of modern slavery some 15 years ago when I was working in the fashion industry and I needed to visit some factories in India and Bangladesh. At that point, I was confronted specifically with the problem of child labor, a phenomenon that later on I studied more when I was working as executive director of an institute promoting ethics in the world of business and finance. However, it was only when I met Sujat John, who of course is with us today, that I became aware also of the horrors of human trafficking in the form of prostitution and how the prostitution networks handle these people. And since then, I decided to join forces with my colleagues here in Luxembourg, present in the panel today. And of course, inspired by Sujo, we have created the Luxembourg Freedom Initiative. So that's like, my initial comment and testimony. Now, let's get started with our roundtable. We have an ambitious agenda today. So again, I'm gonna try to be fast, but to get us started, let me introduce you to the man who, with his testimonial, first introduced us all to the importance of fighting modern slavery, Sujo John. Sujo, great to have you with us today. You're on mute, Sujo.
Thank you, guys, and good morning to those in the Americas, afternoon in Europe, and also in India. I'm truly honored to be part of Luxembourg Freedom Initiative, and I just want to say thank you to all these amazing friends of mine that you're going to be hearing shortly, who've taken time out of their very busy schedules to come together to fight for a cause that means a lot to all of us. Throughout Europe, there's all kinds of events happening today, because as Rick mentioned, today is Anti-Slavery Day in all of Europe. Have had the privilege to do a lot of live events in Europe, typically, on a day like this. But because of COVID, I think now the online has become a common norm, and all of us could join on this platform. Before speaking much now, I want to introduce you to two very special people on my team. And they're on the program now all the way from India, from Mumbai, India. and it's about 4:30 in the afternoon there. And one is a very special girl who has been through the horror of modern slavery. I remember the day when she came to our safe house in Mumbai. She looked very different. Her eyes were sunken. There was no hope on her face. And now she is a beautiful young girl, raring to re-enter society, full of hope for her future. And she's an incredible young lady, and she's a brave heart this morning. And she's so bold this morning to come to us on this platform and to be sharing her personal story. So over to you, Isha. Isha will be speaking in Hindi, and I will be translating that for all of you in English. Isha, welcome to our program, and thank you for being bold enough to share your story with us.
Thank you, Sujit Bhaiya. Hello everyone. मेरा नाम ईशा है और मैं
Hello everyone, my name is Isha.
मैं 20 years की हूँ.
I'm 20 years of age.
मैं एक ऐसी लड़की थी जो सपने देखने से बहुत ज्यादा डरती थी.
I was a young girl who used to be very scared of dreaming dreams.
क्योंकि मेरे फैमिली ने मुझे बहुत छोटी उम्र, करीब 13 साल की उम्र में ब्रॉथल बार में जबरदस्ती काम करने को भेज दिया.
Because when I was just 13 years of age, my own family sold me into a brothel.
पर मैंने खुद के लिए स्टैंड लिया.
But I took a stand for myself.
और मुझे YouCanFreeUs ने बहुत हेल्प किया उस चीज के लिए.
And YouCanFreeUs came into my life at that time.
और मैं अभी मेरा 10th कंप्लीट की मैं स्टडीज कर रही हूँ.
Since being rescued and having come to YouCanFreeUs, I'm actually back in school studying.
और मैं अभी मेरा 11th की पढ़ाई कर रही हूँ और साथ ही साथ बहुत सारी स्किल्स सीख रही हूँ.
I'm in 11th grade right now, and along with my schooling, I'm actually picking up a lot of life skills at YouCanFreeUs.
और मैं यहाँ पर इंटर्नशिप भी करती हूँ YouCanFreeUs में, तो बहुत आगे.
I'm also an intern at YouCanFreeUs, getting to work with other traffic girls.
मेरा ड्रीम है कि मैं काउंसलर बनूं.
My dream is now to be a counselor.
और मैं इसके लिए काउंसलर बनना चाहती हूँ क्योंकि आगे चल के मैं उन लड़कियों को हेल्प करना चाहती हूँ जो मेरे जैसे प्रॉब्लम से गुजरी हैं. उनको
I want to be a counselor because I want to help girls who've been through the experiences I've had in life.
वो लोग हम लोग को सपोर्ट करते हैं, उनको मैं थैंक यू कहना चाहती हूँ और बहुत सारी लड़कियों को ऐसे इंस्पायर करना चाहती हूँ.
I want to say a big thank you to everyone that supports girls like me. Thank you for your support. Without your support, this would not be possible for us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Isha, you are so brave. आप बहुत brave हो. You know, stories like this sets a tone for us. And when we were putting this event together as a team, we decided, why don't we first hear from someone like Isha? And thank you, Isha, for reminding us that there are many around the world right now that don't have the freedom that everyone else on this call has. And this morning, this call and all of this day is about these people that are in different parts of the world, possibly even in your city and even in your community. Before I go any further personally, I want to introduce somebody else on this call again, who's sitting right next to Isha. Her name is Rupa. Rupa has been on staff for YouCanFreeUs for 5 years, fighting modern slavery. She's been part of the many rescue efforts. She's an incredibly brave young girl. And beyond just being part of our rescue teams, she does a very phenomenal job of working on the aftercare of victims of slavery. And her work schedule, I mean, she's a single girl, and I often tell her probably she's still single because of how much work she puts onto YouCanFreeUs. Her day is normally about 12 to 14 hours, works tirelessly with victims of slavery at tremendous personal risk to herself. It takes also an emotional toll on people that fight slavery. But Rupa, we are so grateful for your life and everything you've done in this fight against modern slavery. I just wanted to ask you a few questions this morning. Today on Europe Anti-Slavery Day, what should the world be thinking about, especially when we think about the fight against slavery?
Thank you, Sujo. So, I
my life has been changed working with a survivor of human trafficking. And when we work at YouCanFreeUs, I see there is hope. And when we go to brothels, red light area, it's just so dark and worse situation. But seeing these girls getting an opportunity coming out of the brothel red light district, it's completely a transformation. And I want the entire world to know, to come forward to support these girls and give them an opportunity how whatever means they can support these girls, and they deserve chance in life, opportunity in life. Yes.
Thank you, Rupa. The question is, I know working with victims of modern slavery is very difficult. It takes a personal toll on people that are working along with it. It's not a job, it's truly a calling. So tell me some of the challenges that you go through and the other co-workers of yours goes through working with victims of modern slavery.
So the girls who come to our organization and we rescue the girls, they are grown up, but they have lost their childhood. They never had a healthy childhood in a proper upbringing or socialization. For them to lose hope, to give up, it's very, very common. And the challenge what we face is they think their body is already spoiled. Thousand and hundred of men have used them, and they don't see any worth of their body. They think that is only a way, and when it is spoiled, there is no hope, and they give up. So after even working for them 6 months, 1 year or 2 years, there are girls who decide to go back to the red light area, to those pains and the suffering, and it's not tangible. We can't see the growth and development what is happening with their life. So many times we can't put it in words. So it's slow and it's definitely challenging, and the time and love is required in this program more. And as we are also human being, it's sometimes it's too much for us also to handle their emotions.
But you do a great job, Rupa. So tell me, what happens at YouCanFreeUs in Mumbai? A girl gets rescued, and then what happens to her?
So when girl get rescued by YouCanFreeUs and come to our safe house, first the girl is very confused. In her entire life, she has not seen the good people. So she suspects us also that we are also trafficker, and we may also sell her somewhere. Or so this place is too good for her to accept this is a reality. So it takes almost 6 months for her to just adjust and trust people again. And our role is to love her unconditionally, no matter what, and remind her again and again that she has a better life ahead, and we are there to help her. So this trust building is very important in the beginning. Also, they come with a lot of STD, STI, and sometimes they are HIV positive, and they come with tuberculosis, different kind of diseases. So that point of the time, they need medical intervention. So our team intervene in an immediate basis, and we provide the psychosocial care also. And the journey is slow, but we see transformation happening.
Perfect. So as I wrap up, I want to ask Isha another question. Isha, since your rescue, what has been the most beautiful memory for you? What has been an experience that you absolutely love since this new life, almost we can say that, this new lease of life that you've had? You want to translate it for her? Oh, wow. She says the most beautiful memory or the most beautiful experiences that she's had so far since the rescue has been the opportunities she's had to help other people. That just overwhelms me. For someone who's been through so much, to say that her most amazing experience is to help others. And friends, that just shows us that, if a girl can, like Isha, has a passion to help others, all of us who have freedoms that girls and men and boys and girls around the world don't have, we have a responsibility. There is an ancient quote from the good book that always inspires me. It says, "To whom much is given, much is expected." I want to share with you my personal story. I got involved in this fight against modern slavery almost 11 or 12 years ago. And for someone like me, the reason I got into this fight was I was personally rescued. My rescue was not from any kind of modern slavery. My rescue was from the collapse of the World Trade Center in New York City. I used to work in the World Trade Center, and that fateful day, I was one of the very last people to be pulled out of the debris of the North Tower. That experience totally changed my life, and I was looking for opportunities since then to make the world a better place than I found it. And I will never forget one day being led to the red light district. Someone said, you need to come and see what goes on in the red light district. So I walked into this red light district in New Delhi, India, and a horror awaited me that I was not prepared for. I saw women and children kept in cells and cages. And friends, these cells and cages are about 3 feet by 6 feet with zero ventilation. It's probably one of the most claustrophobic places you'll ever be in your life. It's so dark. And the first time being there, I took roses for these women. And one of these girls that I handed a rose to, she pulls me and she says, if you really want to help me, get me out of here. And when someone says that to you, it will literally mess you up. I come from a background where I have the ability, like you have, to live our life in a very normal way. Our future is kind of secure. We are not threatened by people that take away our freedoms. And someone who doesn't have that is saying, get me out of here. In a way, I kind of found something common with these women. I felt like I was trapped one day and someone rescued me. And so perhaps it's my responsibility to do a little bit that I can to help them. The only thing that I had was friends like those that are part of Luxembourg Freedom Initiative, and many new friends that have joined on this. And I felt like perhaps if I go out into the world and if I point the world to the horror that happens in the red light districts of the world, perhaps there will be some good men and women that will join me in the fight. And friends, that's how YouCanFreeUs started almost 12 years ago. And since then, this movement has taken me literally around the world. And I know today is Europe Anti-Slavery Day. So I've had the privilege to work in countries like in the UK, in Poland, rescuing women who are victims of modern slavery. They're brought across from Eastern Europe and they're taken into different parts of Europe and sold. I want to leave you with a number which will literally, come to your memory every time you think of modern slavery. And it's a small exercise I want to leave you with. I don't know, you may be aware of this or you may not be aware of this. Almost every single day, victims like Isha that you heard the story of, they are forced to see 30 to 40 men every single night. Now, those numbers are just mind-blowing, right? 30 to 40 men every single night. Let's say the number is 30, and I'm actually looking at my calculator to do a simple math with you. If it's 30 men that come to exploit her every single day, then in a month, there's almost 900 men that have come and violated her. And in a year, it's almost close to 11,000 people, 10,800 men that have come and violated her. On an average, these girls spend almost 20 years. Most of them with this kind of physical and emotional abuse, they don't make it past their 40th or 45th birthday. But on average, they spend 20 years. So in about 20 years, there's almost 216,000 men that have come and violated innocent girls like Isha. And by the way, this number of 30 to 40, this is a global average. This is not a number that just happens in parts of Asia or parts of Eastern Europe. That's exactly the same number of men that come and force this upon women, even in America, where I live. And so friends that have joined us from all over the world, this is a problem for our generation. Every generation has had to deal with an evil. This is the evil of our times. 41 million people in slavery that's crying out for our help. I also want to share one more thing before I turn it over to Rick. Our work is not only rescuing women that are forced into slavery, women and children, but our work also involves rescuing children that are victims of forced child labor. When you think of modern slavery, it's not just about sex traffic victims. It's also about forced marriage, people who are forced into marriage. It's about organs that's been taken out of people and sold in markets where people are looking for organ transplantation. But it's also about forced children. Almost 120 million or more children globally are caught up in child labor. And COVID-19 has only made it worse. Millions of children are being forced into forced child labor. We're actually, our project is opening up a few more projects this year. And one of the reasons we're accelerating that is because of COVID. And our staff team have been working in some of these poorer segments. We walked into a place and we were told there that there are thousands of kids there. The last time they went to school was almost a year and a half ago. That's before COVID. They have what we know as a digital divide. These children have no access to computers and technology. And so they've had no schooling for the last year and a half. And so the parents have forced them into work. This is an alarming situation for the world. Children that are being forced into slavery now because of the effects of COVID. So I close by saying thank you for taking time. The next few minutes, you're going to hear from men and women who have a passion to end slavery. And the reason we put this event together was to inspire many of you. And it's obvious you have a passion for this cause, and that's why you're part of this call. And so we would love to connect with you. We would love to hear from you. On the chat box, you can share with us your email or personally connect with any of us. I'm so grateful you've joined us. Over to you, Rick.
Thank you very much, Sujo, for these great and really touching words. And of course, thank you to Isha and Rupa for being so generous to share your testimonials here with us today. It is completely a very impactful thing to hear it directly from people like you. And we are so happy that you can share this so that everybody gets the needed sensitivity about this huge problem. So thanks again to Isha, Rupa, and Sujo for your testimonies. Now let's continue with our roundtable, and let me now go to another one of the founding members of the Luxembourg Freedom Initiative, Revel Wood. Revel, great to have you with us today.
Thank you very much, Rick.
Hey, Revel. So let me introduce Revel very quickly to you. So Revel is co-founder of One Group Solutions, the industry-leading fund governance provider here in Luxembourg. One Group provides solutions in fund management, compliance, regulatory consulting, corporate and governance services, and next-generation technology. Before this, Revel was the group CEO of FundRock. He has also worked as deputy managing director and head of business strategy for Northern Trust Fund Services. Revel's success is based on building a strong network and a reputation of loyal, trusted, and results-oriented partner. Before moving to Luxembourg, Revel was global head of derivative products and investment operations for Northern Trust, and he was then based in London. Revel is an energized leader with 30 years of leadership experience. He's passionate about high-quality customer solutions by inspiring a sense of pride and collective ownership in his teams. Revel, thanks for being with us today. Please share with us your experience. Why are you fighting modern slavery, and why have you decided to be a founding member of the Luxembourg Freedom Initiative? Please, Revel.
Thank you very much, Rick, and good afternoon all, and thank you all for joining today. Having read out my bio, Rick, I must admit, when you hear Isha and Rupa's story, it's dwarfed and insignificant in comparison. And Isha, Rupa, thank you so much for sharing your stories. It's truly inspirational. I suppose, just quick background, having grown up in an apartheid South Africa, worked down a platinum mine at the age of 16, 17, and saw the gross inequality, being able to achieve a job as a white South African that a 55-year-old black man couldn't. Was just huge inequalities, and then meeting Sujo and inspired by Sujo's story and the team at YouCanFreeUs and the wonderful testimonials that we've just heard from Isha and Rupa. It's just overwhelming in terms of the challenges that we face around the globe. That modern slavery is not something of the past. It's not a couple of decades ago, apartheid in South Africa, but all the others around the world. But it lives and breathes today. So I'm inspired to be part of a team, a great team, to create awareness about the problems of modern slavery. Taking this to schools, universities, the finance industry, corporates, and associations, of which we are fortunate to be part of that network. And our goal is to remove Misconceptions, Rick touched on some of those, that this only applies to poor countries or questionable characters. Bring awareness about the different types of modern slavery, whether it's human trafficking, child labor, which seems to get a lot of attention, but the sex trade, organ trafficking, and so on. Also educate on the numbers of people impacted daily. Sujo touched on it, but 41 million worldwide in slavery today is an astronomical number. And Sujo just shared some information on the chat. Please take a look at that. Providing information on products generated as a result of modern slavery and how people profit from this still today. And this is incredibly important in our industry, in the funds industry, with the focus on AML. You know, often we talk about terrorism financing, but of course, money derived from human trafficking is equally important to combat. Providing, you know, information on the practical steps we can take to make a difference, one person at a time. And again, Isha's story, but there's many more that need to be and can be rescued. We're also looking at research and contributing to technologies, blockchains, and other ways to enhance transparency. And it's great to see, you know, the uprise and surge of ESG and people using proxy voting to really make a difference. And ultimately, I think, as Sujo mentioned, is to save lives and make a real impact, one person at a time, like the story you heard from Isha. So real privilege to have met Sujo and the team at YouCanFreeUs, and a real privilege to be part of this great initiative to try and create more awareness about modern slavery and bring others along with us. So thank you. And with that, back to you, Rick.
Thank you very much, Revel, for sharing with us your view. Very interesting and really very engaging. Thank you, Revel. And now let's continue. Let me now go to another one of our founding members of the Luxembourg Freedom Initiative, Brigitte Goldak. Brigitte, great to have you with us today. Hello. You're on mute, Brigitte.
Classic. Thank you. Hello.
Thank you. So let me introduce to you Brigitte Goldak. Brigitte is a partner in one of the large Luxembourg accounting firms, you know, one of the big four. She specializes in asset and wealth management and alternative funds industry. And she advises her clients on governance and anti-money laundering matters. She holds a bachelor's in fiscal law and a bachelor's and master's in European studies from the University of Bath and also from the Humboldt University in Berlin. Brigitte has a wide international living and working experience and has for many years lived outside her native country, Germany. Throughout the years, she has lived and worked in some capacity or other in the US, Canada, France, Italy, Greece, and the UK. Her passion is to use her experience and influence to impact people around the world. She currently lives here in Luxembourg with her husband and her 2 sons. So please welcome Brigitte. Brigitte, great to have you with us today. Please give us your testimonial and why have you decided to join the Luxembourg Freedom Initiative. Please, Brigitte, on to you.
So hi again, everybody. As some of you on this call may know me, and usually I speak freely, but today I've written actually some text because there's some stuff I really want to say. And why am I involved? Because I want to make an impact. Those who do know me, I'm a pretty concrete type of person. And so that's what I like about this. You've seen Isha and Rupa, and this is the type of work that I would like to be engaged in to really help. So psychology studies also noted that those who devote themselves to a cause that is greater than themselves live longer and more fulfilling and rewarding lives. And I also believe in what Sujo said, to whom much is given, we are supposed to give back. And in my profession, in Luxembourg and in the Luxembourg market, Revel mentioned it, we talk about ESG, and there's an S in there, we know about it, but how can we make it more concrete? And so I read about somebody that's called Dr. Maji Warrell. She's a best-selling author and an international speaker on courage and leadership. And as leader, we are all leaders here on our call. We're leaders in our profession. We're leaders and parents in our home. We're self-leaders of ourselves, and we should lead all by examples. So in one of her articles, Dr. Burrell elaborates that the fact that many people in the Western world are wealthier today than they ever before, yet suffer higher rates of depression and greater loneliness, with young adults feeling the most alone, tells us that something is missing from our lives. It's wonderful to have wealth. It buys us choices and enables us to do more things. But if our lives solely evolves around the accumulation of wealth, we can end up living a life of immaculate mediocrity. I don't want to be mediocre. I would like to be a woman of excellence. And I don't want to live superficially and have my relationships starved by the little social bubble that I work in or that I live in here in a wealthy country, and only be active on social media, but nothing else. So why should we care? So as you consider the years ahead of you, your future that is yet to be written, your own future, I invite you to think about what's the most meaningful impact then you can have on others. How might you better employ your talents, your expertise, your resources, your contacts, your wisdom, then to do good for others in a very concrete way? And this initiative may offer you insights in how you can help even while working in the job that you're working. You're not necessarily required to leave everything behind you and go into the social field, but there's lots that we can do with all the influence that we have in our individual positions. So that's why I'm here, to encourage everybody that I know to somehow do something concretely. And we've seen, Isha and Rupa, that this space really of it transforms people's lives. And that's why I'm here.
Thank you very much, Brigitte, for sharing this testimonial, and your words really show your commitment to the cause and to the Luxembourg Freedom Initiative. Thank you very much for sharing. Now, let me turn it over to our next founding member of the Luxembourg Freedom Initiative, Jonas Müller. Jonas, great to have you with us today. Can you hear us?
Hi, Rick. Hi, everyone. I hear you.
Hey, hi, Jonas. Hi. So let me introduce you very quickly, Jonas Müller. Jonas graduated from the University of Stockholm and holds a master's degree in international commercial law and a bachelor's degree in political science. He also studied at the Université Jean Moulin, Lyon 3 in France. He's a senior legal counsel at the UK private equity firm here in Luxembourg. They focus on all legal matters relating to private equity and alternative investment funds. He worked in a major Nordic financial institutions legal department after having practiced in law firms based in Luxembourg. Jonas is a teaching assistant at the University of Stockholm, teaching master level students on the topic of investment funds and acting as a master's thesis supervisor. Jonas, a Swedish native with family all over the Nordics, has been involved in many various charitable organizations and initiatives since his time at the university. He feels very fortunate to live here in Luxembourg together with his wife and son. Welcome, Jonas. It's great to have you with us today. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Rick, and thank you, everybody. Thanks. Good to see so many joining this seminar. Obviously, we've all heard now already how important this cause is. And I personally am very grateful that I got introduced to Sujo and everybody else in this team, and getting just a small glimpse of the gravity of this problem that we're all facing. And these criminals, they should be battled on many fronts, including the regulatory. And from a regulatory point of view, there's a lot of things that could and should still be done. The UK is on the forefront from a regulatory point of view, where they introduced a Modern Slavery Act, which in 2015, which is important for fighting this battle. And that became a template for many other countries and regulations all over the world. This defined modern slavery. It introduced the enforcement mechanisms and addressed the problem in supply chains as well. And most importantly, this act brought the whole topic to the agenda, to companies' agendas and also the general public's. And one of the important aspects with the act was the obligation of companies doing business in the UK and exceeding certain thresholds to report annually on how they deal with modern slavery in their own organizations and in their supply chains. And if they don't do anything, they also need to state that. So this is just a small step, and this is a way in which we can engage as well, looking at company statements, asking why they do what they do, or especially why they don't do anything in case they don't do anything. And there's also other countries which have followed after the UK, Australia, among other countries. And especially now in Europe, Brigitte already referred to the ESG, that's heavily on the agenda and being promoted, where S includes slavery, but still needs to be promoted a whole lot more. So there's a lot of things that we as individuals can do. We can engage with regulators if we have the contacts and the opportunities, asking lawmakers how they look at this whole aspect and how we can support and what we can do in this regards, but also interacting with the companies, reading their modern slavery statements and asking them why they don't do more in case they don't do, and encouraging them if they already do things. And we should also engage with each other and stakeholders in our in the financial industry or in business generally, and liaise with them and ask what they do and how they can improve the situation. So that's also a reminder to check out our webpage, www.luxfreedominitiative.com. And with that reminder, back to you, Rick.
Thank you very much, Jonas, for sharing your experience and telling us about the regulatory framework, which is very, very important and hopefully will help us in our endeavors. And also, thank you for sharing our website. People, we really invite you to visit our website and collaborate with us closer and closer. So thanks for that, Jonas. And now let's move to our last founding member of the Luxembourg Freedom Initiative, John Mills. John, it's great to have you with us today.
Thanks. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So people, let me introduce to you John Mills. John is a lawyer who grew up and studied in South Africa and qualified in multiple jurisdictions. He is a partner and founding shareholder of Maitland Group, a privately held international financial services group. John has experience in international corporate and private client structuring, financing and investment, and acting as a director for such structures. Private family and family office services remain an ongoing emphasis of John's. In 2019, the Luxembourg government awarded John with the prestigious Order of Merit of the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg for services to the Luxembourg financial sector. John is committed to supporting those less fortunate and is particularly passionate about bringing change through education, awareness, and empowerment. John has been based in Luxembourg since 1991 and is married to Jessica. They have 3 children. Welcome, John. Great to have you with us today. Please, John, share us your view, please. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rick. That's very kind of you. And thank you for all of your participations. So the big question for me is, this is all very nice what we're doing now, but what can we do as individuals to make a difference? And so we spend a fair amount of time getting what we call, trying to come up with ideas for what we call as getting involved. And if you go to our website at the bottom of the homepage, we have these ideas laid out. But so what can you do to get involved as a single person to make a little bit of a difference here? And the first way to get involved is really to just participate like you're participating now in educating yourself But he can also participate by forwarding these links, websites to associates, and getting other people to just become more aware of what the problem is and the fact that we're all affected and touched by this problem, and that we can all be part of the solution. You can also sign up for events, and we'll talk about these a little bit later as we close. You can come to us and contact us and ask for material available to support you, because we've produced material primarily through YouCanFreeUs that would work for schools, universities, and even your workplace to spread the message. That is very, very, very solid material. And then just if you want to track social media updates, you can do that on YouCanFreeUs. Now, all of this you'll be able to find on our website as links. Also, obviously, you can support financially, and we have donation details, bank account details on the website. Again, at the moment, we're channeling our funds through YouCanFreeUs in the UK, and we'll be able to give a tax certificate as well, so you'll get some tax deduction for that. But the kind of projects out there would be to launch a new initiative to rescue and rehabilitate victims of sex slavery in Kolkata, India. And there's also a child community development center in Mumbai, India, which is being started under YouCanFreeUs, which will help prevent the trafficking of children in the vulnerable areas. There's also a project to digitize Libertas. Libertas is the youth education material that has been developed, and we're trying to produce that in a digital content, which will just make it much easier to spread the message and certainly get the youth connected with this. And then finally, you can also sponsor a victim of modern slavery, someone, Aisha. And once again, you have details on our website. We, as a group, have committed to sponsoring as well. And you can do this individually, or you can join us. It's just need to make contact with us, and our contact details are all over. And finally, you can also just visit a project that's running in India, or tell us about the project that you're involved in as well. So at that stage, I'll hand back to you, Rick.
Thank you very much, John, and thank you also for all those technical recommendations and advice. It's very, very good to listen also to your testimonial. To wrap it up, Sujo, do you want to spontaneously say a couple of words to wrap us up?
I just want to say, all of you, thank you. You took time out of your daily schedules, like I said earlier, because you truly care for this cause. Imagine if all of us, right now there's 6 of us, but there's room for all of you to be part of LFI. Imagine the bigger we are, the more impact we can make. So I look forward to that. We as a team are also planning some live events in Luxembourg. So stay tuned to that. I know many of you are connected to people on this group. So whoever you are friends with, stay connected, and we'll love for you to be part of. And I just want to thank all of these amazing people, friends of mine in Luxembourg now, who have taken time to be part of Luxembourg Freedom Initiative. And I think the right thing to do, possibly, Rick, is just to pause for 20 seconds maybe, and where we can just pause in silence. And if you're a person of faith, you can pray, you can meditate, or whatever makes you feel comfortable. And for those 20-25 seconds, let's think about the victims of modern slavery, and particularly in Europe and all over the world. So I think with that, we can end the call. A moment of silence in honor of those in suffering, and are hoping for someone like us to come and free them. Over to you, Rick, as you close.
Thank you very much, Sujo, and thank you everybody again for having taken time on this Monday to join us. Please make sure, if you're interested in receiving more information from the Luxembourg Freedom Initiative, please make sure to leave your email address on the chat section. We will, of course, handle it very carefully. But you are in touch with all of us, so thank you once again, and we will see you here for the next roundtable, hopefully very soon. And as Sue just said, also for a live event here in Luxembourg in the coming months. Thank you very much again, and take care. Goodbye.